I was born in Kiev, but was baptized in Warsaw, in the Church of the Holy Cross. My parents had left Poland in their youth. My mother nourished me with her own milk. She was a Pole with her whole soul. I was brought up in Russia. Although I'm a Pole, I love Russia and the Russian soil. I went to 2 schools in Petersburg where they taught me enough. I played a lot of pranks. I could shoot from a slingshot better than anyone else because I hit a doctor in the eye. I understood it all, even though I was a child. My mother did not know what to give us to live on. My mother was suffering because of money. I loved my mother infinitely, and later wrote her letters every day. I decided to devote myself to dancing even more. I grew thin. Everyone started talking about me. I started to dance like God. I did not need a university education, as it was not necessary for me to know a great deal. I do not like universities, because they spent their time on politics. My political views are to be kind to everybody. I love the earth and want to protect it. Everybody hates earthquakes and asks God to save them from calamities. I want earthquakes, because I know then that the earth can breathe. I feel the earth. I am an unthinking philosopher. I am a philosopher with feeling. I do not like philosophy because it is the whim of spoiled people. I am not Schopenhauer. I am Nijinsky. I am the one who dies when he is not loved. I understand the truth, for I feel deeply about things. I am a madman who loves mankind. My madness is my love towards mankind. I am a man in a million. I am a dancer. Men have lost their way and cannot understand each other and have therefore divided themselves into parties. Earth is an inferno. I want only to inflame the earth and people, not to extinguish them. Scientists extinguish the fire of the earth and the love of the people for each other. People think that children are necessary in order to have soldiers. They kill children. God does not protect the government of those who make war. God didn't want this war. Blood is war. Sometimes when I dance, there is blood on my foot. I do not like this blood, because I do not like war. I do not like the fire which destroys lives. I like the fire which gives warmth. I realize who starts wars. Wars occur because of commerce. Commerce is a terrible thing. Commerce is death to mankind. I know what earth is. The earth is warm, and without warmth there will be no bread. The earth is alive and breathes like a human being. especially the soil of Russia. I love Russia and the Russian language. I want happiness. People will say that Nijinsky has gone mad. He's a dancer and nothing else. I'm alive, and therefore suffer because men do not know the importance of life. They think the more one has, the happier one is. I'm not an ordinary man. I'm a dancer. You will understand me when you see me dance. Millions of years have gone by since the creation of man. Men think that God is where technical inventions are most advanced. God was already there when there was no mechanism. Steel is a necessary thing, but feathers made of steel are a horrible thing. An aeroplane is a terrible thing. I flew in an aeroplane and cried in it. I do not know why, but aeroplanes destroy birds. An aeroplane is a useful thing, but it must not be exaggerated. An aeroplane should express goodwill. Terrible men are eagles. They prevent small birds from living. An eagle must not interfere with the smaller birds, and must therefore be given enough to eat in order not to attack them. I feel what Christ felt. I am like Buddha. I am the Buddhist God and every kind of God. I know each of them. I have met them all. I am God in man. God is within me, and I am within him. I am a madman who loves mankind. My madness is my love towards mankind. I am a man in a million. I am a dancer. I love Russia. I love France. I love England. I love America. I love Switzerland. I love Spain. I love Italy. I love Japan. I love Australia. I love China. I love Africa. I love the Transvaal. I want to love everybody, and therefore I'm God. I'm neither Russian nor a Pole. I am a man. I'm not a foreigner or a cosmopolitan. I love the Russian soil. I will build a dam in Russia. Russia feels more than any other country. Russia is my mother. My mother lives in Russia. She's Polish, but eats Russian bread. Once in the mountains, I came to a road which led up to a peak. I wanted to make a speech on the mountain. I had the desire to do so. I felt no pain, but a great love towards people. I wanted to jump from the top of the mountain into the village of St. Moritz. I did not, because I had to go further. I went on and came to a tree. The tree told me that one could not speak here because human beings do not understand feeling. I was sorry to part with the tree because the tree understood me. I climbed up the altitude of 2,000 meters. I felt a voice and shouted in French, "Parole!" I wanted to speak, but my voice was so strong that I could only shout, "I love everyone. I want happiness. I love everyone, everyone." I collapsed and had a fever. I was at death's door. My wife wept. She loves me. She suffers when she sees me like this. I want to dance. I want to play the piano. I want to write poetry. I always loved the theater, and I worked hard. But later my spirits fell because I noticed that I wasn't liked. I retired into myself. I retired so deep into myself. that I could not understand people. I know that everyone will suffer reading these lines because I know that people will feel me. I'm a strong man. I'm not sick in the body. I feel a piercing stare from behind. I feel people want to harm me. But I will not fight, and my enemy will be disarmed. They may wound me, but they will not kill me. I'm not afraid of suffering because God will be with me. I know how to suffer. My little Kira feels my love for her, but she thinks too that I'm ill, for they have told her so. My daughter does not speak Russian, because the war has arranged my life differently. My little one sings in Russian, because I taught her Russian songs. I love them and the Russian language. My wife thinks that I am mad. She has this idea because she thinks too much. I think little, and therefore understand everything I feel. I know that thought without logic cannot exist, but logic cannot exist without feeling. I am feeling in the flesh, and not intellect in the flesh. Nietzsche lost his reason because he thought too much. I do not think, and therefore cannot go mad. My scalp is strong and hard. I have to stand on my head in the Ballet Scheherazade. I represented the beast well, and therefore the public understood me. I wish to explain what God is. I'm talking about matters that touch the whole universe. I want peace for everyone, and want the earth to be full of love. The earth is one single star. The earth is the head of God. God is the fire in the head. My pulse is like an earthquake. The earth needs earthquakes in order to stay warm. The scientists say there is no God, but I say there is a God. I feel him. I know that mothers will understand me better because they feel the nearness of death giving birth to a child. People who are ill feel the nearness of God more. They think they will soon die. I am neither the blood nor the body of the Lord. I am the spirit in the flesh, and the flesh in the spirit. Blood and spirit is God. I am the Lord. I am man. I'm Christ. I am God. It's not a good thing to eat meat. I cannot force my wife to become a vegetarian. She eats meat because she loves it. At lunch, I broke a nut, suddenly, with the strength of a giant. She got frightened and said that I struck on purpose. She was right, I did strike on purpose. It is bad to eat meat. I've seen how they kill animals and how they cry. I got nervous at the command of God, and therefore I went away to write. Darwin believed that man descended from monkeys. His theory of nature is false. He did not feel nature. I study nature through feeling, and therefore I know what nature is. I move simply, but the movements of monkeys are complicated. Man comes from God, and God is not a monkey. Monkeys come from monkeys, and monkeys were created by God. I am a man descended from God, and not from a monkey. I am God if I feel him. I would prefer my writing to be photographed instead of printed, because printing does not transmit the same feeling as writing. Handwriting is a beautiful thing. It is alive and full of character. Jerky handwriting means kindness of heart. I'm able to tell good people from their handwriting. I know what my fountain pen needs in order to write well. I understand my fountain pen. I know its habits, and therefore can invent a better one. A Polish count introduced me by telephone to Diaghilev, who invited me to come to the Hotel de l'Europe where he was staying. I hated him for his voice, which was too self-assured, but I went in search of luck. I found my luck there because I immediately made love to him. I trembled like an aspen leaf, but I put up a pretense, for I knew that my mother and I would starve to death. One had to live, and therefore it was all the same to me what type of sacrifice I had to make. Diaghilev loved boys, and therefore could not understand me. I was afraid of life because I was very young. I did not like Diaghilev from the first day of our acquaintance, but lived with him. We often quarreled. I used to lock my door. I was afraid of him. I knew that all my life was in his hands. I know terrible things because I learned them from Diaghilev. Diaghilev taught me everything. I was young and did stupid things. I am a man with feeling and reason. You are a man with intelligence, without feeling. But I wish no harm to Diaghilev. I love him the same as I love all other people. Not being God, I cannot judge men. God will be his judge, and not the laws of men which punish people for their mistakes. I have punished myself by telling everyone about my life. Diaghilev thinks that he is the god of art. He does not want to pay me, when the work I did for him cost me my life. I worked for him for 5 years without rest. I know all his sly tricks and habits. I was with Diaghilev. I know him better than he knows himself. I'm not afraid of him. I love the Ballet Russe. I gave my whole heart to it. I worked like an ox. I lived like a martyr. I lived sadly and sorrowed alone. I wept alone. I could not go on composing the ballet, Je. It was a ballet about flirting, and unsuccessful, as I had no feeling for it. The story of this ballet is about 3 young men making love to each other. Diaghilev likes to say that he created the ballet because he likes to be praised. I do not mind if Diaghilev says that he composed the stories of Faune and Je, because when I created them, I was under the influence of my life with Diaghilev. The Faune is me. And Je is the life of which Diaghilev dreamed. Diaghilev wanted to make love to 2 boys at the same time, and wanted these boys to make love to him. In the ballet, the 2 girls represent the 2 boys, and the young man is Diaghilev. I changed the characters, as love between 3 men could not be represented on the stage. I wanted people to feel as disgusted with the idea of evil love as I did, but I could not finish the ballet. Debussy did not like the subject either, but he was paid 10,000 gold francs for this ballet, and therefore had to finish it. Rodin wrote a good review, but he was influenced in writing it. He wrote it because Diaghilev asked him to. He wanted to make a drawing of me because he wanted to make a marble statue. He looked at my naked body and found it was wrongly proportioned. I have drawn a picture of Christ, without moustache and beard, with long hair. I look like him, only he has a calm gaze, and my eyes look round. I am a man of motion, not of immobility. I have different habits from Christ. He loved immobility, and I love motion and dancing. The earth is suffocating. Therefore, I am asking everybody to abandon factories and listen to me. I beg people not to be afraid of me. I must not be killed because I love everybody equally. Nietzsche became insane because he realized at the end of his life that everything he had written was absurd. He became frightened of people and went mad. Spaniards spill the blood of bulls, and therefore they like murder. They are terrible people. because they murder bulls. Even the church and the Pope cannot put an end to this slaughter. Diaghilev says that a bullfight is a magnificent art. I understand him, and therefore challenge him to a bullfight. I am the bull, a wounded bull. I am God in the bull. I am Apis. I am an Egyptian. I am an Indian. I am a red Indian. I am a Negro. I am a Chinaman. I am a Japanese. I am a foreigner. A stranger. I am a seabird. I am a land bird. I'm not afraid of death. I am afraid of the death of the spirit. I am a man in a million. I'm not alone because I feel more than a million people. Mental agony is a terrible thing, but death of the body is not. I will remain alone and cry in my loneliness. I have nothing, and I want nothing. I am not crying now, but have tears in my heart. I do not want the death of feeling. I cannot weep for fear my tears should fall on my notebook. I cry. I cannot restrain my tears. And they fall on my left hand and on my silken tie. But I cannot and do not wish to hold them back. I feel that I am doomed. I have now been married for 5 years. I'm now about 29 years old. I lived with Diaghilev also for 5 years. I admired him. And when he told me that love for women was a terrible thing, I believed him. If I had not believed him, I could not have done the things I have done. Romola is my wife's name. It's an Italian name. She was named so by her father, a man of great mind who loved the Italy of the Renaissance. I do not like the bygone centuries because I'm alive. Dear, beloved Ramushka, I love you and wish you happiness. You were frightened of me because I've changed. You called doctors. You've trusted a stranger and not me. I can no longer dance as before, as all dances are death. The body dies, but the soul lives. The soul is a dove in God. I am in God. You will understand me later, because everyone will say that Nijinsky is like God. You will believe it. You think that I am ill because the doctors told you I was. Love me. Love me. Admit love. You want a little boy by me because you are afraid I will die soon. I have a lot of semen I am keeping for another child. For I hope I will be presented with the gift of a boy. We got engaged in Rio de Janeiro and married suddenly. I met her on the steamer Avon. I must say that I married without thinking of the future. We spent money which I had saved with great difficulty. I gave her roses of 5 francs each. I bought 20 to 30 of these roses a day. I liked giving them to her as I felt flowers and understood that my love is white, not red. Red roses frighten me. I married, I felt everlasting love, and not a sensual love. I loved her passionately and gave her all I could. She loved me. She was happy. I asked my wife to learn to dance because dancing was the highest thing in life for me. I wanted to teach her. I never taught anyone my art. I wanted it for myself, but I wanted to teach her the real art of the dance. But she got frightened. Did she no longer trust me? I wept and wept bitterly, and already felt death. I understood that I had made a mistake, but it was too late to undo it. Had I put myself into the arms of a person who did not love me? I understood the whole mistake. My wife worshipped me above all, but she did not feel me. Did she love me for my art and for the beauty of my body? I do not like eating meat, because I have seen lambs and pigs being killed. I saw and felt their tears. I love animals and cannot eat their flesh, knowing that if I do, another animal will have to be killed. I like bread and butter and cheese and eggs, and I feel better since I have not eaten meat. I know the doctors will say that this is nonsense, but it is not. It arouses lecherous feelings. Those feelings have disappeared since I haven't eaten meat. I know the children who eat meat often practice self-abuse. This develops idiocy. Man loses all sense and feeling. I used to lose sense too when I practiced self-abuse. I know that Gogol used to do the same, and masturbation was his downfall. I practiced masturbation because I saw many beautiful women who flirted. I lusted after them and masturbated. I noticed that my hair started to fall out. I noticed that my teeth started to rot. I noticed that I was nervous and began to dance worse. I, myself, was my own object of lust. Since I gave up meat, I feel better. My thoughts are clearer, and I run instead of walking. I only walk for a rest. I run a lot because I feel force in me. My muscles, my brain are more obedient. I dance more lightly and have a big appetite. But physical strength comes not from food, but from the mind. The mind distributes food. I eat as much as the mind tells me. Your Excellency, I want to ask you to allow the enclosed letter to be delivered to my mother. I love my mother and want her to know that I am alive. I know that you are frightfully busy, but I also know that you are a kind man. You will understand me if you have seen me dance. My mother is a sick woman. She has lost a son, and she suffers because she cannot see me. She loves me. She has nothing to do with politics. She knows that I am famous and loved everywhere, that I have influential friends, and therefore, if she does not hear of me, she will believe that I am dead. I dislike revolutions. I am myself a human being, and I pity humanity. When I hear that people were killed through the revolution, I cry. I am not an anarchist. I don't belong to any party. My policies are to defend countries from wars. I have a heart, and I work with my heart and soul, and hope to develop my spirit. I am no longer Nijinsky of the Russian ballet. I am Nijinsky of God. I love him, and God loves me. People will say that I do not know what fear is because I have not been to the war. I have been in the war because I fought for my life. I love everybody and do not want the death of anybody. I love my wife. She is Hungarian-born. I traveled with her during the war in France. The French authorities permitted us to go through France several times. I love France and England, Poland, Italy, and Russia. I love the whole world. I thank you in advance, Vaslav Nijinsky. My dear mother, I love you as always, and I am in good health. I have had no news from you. I have written to you, but have not received any reply, and my letters were returned to me. I am happy, but I am unhappy because I cannot see you. I love you and ask you to come to me. I love you so much. You have brought me up. I have a daughter, and I wish you would bring her up too. I know how much of God you have in yourself. I don't want to be mixed up in politics. I am not a politician. I am a human being, creation of God. I love everybody, and I don't approve of any kind of murder. I am young, strong, and I work a great deal. Write to me, please, through the British authorities. I kiss you, my dear mother, and ask you to kiss all those who love me. Your son, Baccio. I got up at 3 o'clock today, but woke earlier. I heard people talking. My wife's mother and her husband, they'd arrived. I heard my wife sobbing, then her laugh. I heard my wife's mother threatening. I wanted to console my wife, but God didn't want me to. I heard what they were saying about me, and what they were thinking. I gazed at the wall and saw the wallpaper. I gazed at the lamp and saw glass. I gazed into the distance and saw emptiness. I tremble when people don't understand me. I am a dancer. I ate meat today and felt a longing for a streetwalker. My desire sent me after her. I wanted to make love to her, but God held me back. I liked Paris cocottes when I was with Diaghilev. He thought me stupid, but I used to run to them. Sometimes I would look all day long and not find one. I did not like what I was doing, but my habits became more complex, and I took to looking for them every day. I often met cocottes who did not feel me. I resorted to all kinds of tricks to get them to take notice of me. Once I was pursuing a cocotte and I suddenly noticed someone looking at me. A young man who was sitting in a cab with his wife and 2 children. He had recognized me. I received a moral blow, but I continued to chase. If my wife reads all this, she will go mad, for she believes in me. I lied to her when I said she was the first woman I made love to. I knew many others before my wife. They were simple and beautiful. I once loved a woman who had her period. She taught me everything. I was shocked and told her that it was a pity to do things like that when a person is ill. She told me that if she did not do it, she would die of starvation. I cannot write quickly because this is a very bad fountain pen. My wife is afraid I may be writing things which are forbidden. I want to reassure her, but my hand writes. I want to speak of my wife's mother, Emma, and her husband, Oscar. I shall write about their faults so they can read about them. I understand people who want to shoot themselves. I know that my wife's father shot himself. He became nervous because his brain was overtired. Emma and Oscar are tired because of their long journey. They thought I was mad, but have felt the opposite. Oscar sees that I understand politics and is interested in me. Oscar is afraid of having an operation for his piles because he's a timid man. People will say that he's a timid man because he's a Jew. I like Jews because they're timid. People who made a show of not being timid are pretending. My wife's mother pretends to love me. She's a nervous woman. She likes me for my success with the public, but she doesn't feel me. She's a very good actress. Everyone will say that I am as much of an actor as she is. I understand acting because I feel. I know her as a human being and therefore can judge her attitude. I noticed when I was interned that she would play act in life. My wife's mother used to be a beautiful woman. She has spoiled her beauty because she is always angry. She pretends to like simple people. She shakes hands with streetcar conductors just for show. She does this awkwardly. For I have noticed that the conductors blush. They feel uncomfortable because they think she is laughing at them. I am poor. I am destitute. I have nothing. My wife's mother has a 3-story house with marble pillars. I do not like that house because it is stupidly built. Sometimes I feel she has no heart. I do not like people with glass hearts. I'm not glass in the heart. When we lived with my wife's mother, my wife got bored. It occurred to us to engage in debauch. I bought her books to excite myself. I excited my wife. She was excited, and we were debauched. Dr. Frankel is also a debauchee because he showed me Japanese engravings in a book. That book was full of obscene pictures. He smiled when I approved the book. I thought my heart would burst at the sight of this filth. I wanted to forget myself and so started to write down my ballet, phone, on the basis of my notation system. It took about 2 months to write it down. The ballet took 10 minutes to perform. The critics always think that they are cleverer than the artists. They often abuse their position and reprimand an artist for his performance. Artists are poor and therefore tremble when faced by critics. They feel hurt and offended. Their souls weep. An artist sacrifices his whole life for art. I will say that a critic is selfish because he writes about his own opinion and not about the public's opinion. Applause is not opinion. Applause is a feeling of love for the artist. Svetlov was living with the ballerina Shola and learned many expressions from her. I understood the art of dancing because I danced. Svetlov has never danced and did not know what dancing means. I called him a parrot, not because his head looked like it, but because in his writings he repeats things that are already well known. He was nearly 60 years old and used to make up his face. The expression on his face was like a mask made of wax. Purposely, he did not smile. He was afraid of getting wrinkles. He did not know that his criticism made me feel very sick. Already in those days, I wanted people to like and love me. I sought love and realized there was none. It was all filth. I was not ripe for life. Igor Stravinsky does not know what life is. He thinks that I am hostile to his aims. He wants riches and fame. He is a good composer of music, but he does not write about life. Stravinsky is a child with a long nose. His father is Russian and his grandfather a Pole. I am also a Pole, but without a long nose. Stravinsky does not like his wife because he forces her to carry out all his whims. He loves his children, strangely. He shows his love by forcing his children to paint. One day, I asked him whether he and his wife would agree to take in my child. I did not want to take my child to North America, and Stravinsky had many children. Stravinsky said he was sorry, but he could not take the child. His wife said nothing, but I answered her with my weeping, which she felt. She is a woman, and therefore feels what it means to have a child in a train or ship. I shook hands with him very coldly and took my Kira to America. When I was a boy, my father wanted to teach me to swim. He threw me into the water where we were bathing. I fell and sank to the bottom. I could not swim and felt I had no air. Then I closed my mouth. I had little air, but held on to what I had, thinking that if God willed, I would be saved. I walked straight on, I knew not where, and suddenly felt a light under the water. I realized that it was shallow in the place I was going to, and I went quickly. I reached a wall. The wall went straight up. I did not see the sky. I saw the water above me. Suddenly, I had a feeling of physical strength and jumped. When I jumped, I saw the rope. I clung to the rope and was saved. I know what an eye is. An eye is a theater. The brain is the audience. I am the eye in the brain. I often draw one eye. I am God's eye, and not a warlike eye. I like to look closely in the mirror, and I see only one eye in my forehead. The circle is the complete, the perfect movement. Everything is based on it. Life. Art. I understand what an artist is because I am an artist myself. We were lunching together with the doctor, who was watching me, wanting to know whether I was mad or not. He's certain that something is definitely wrong with me. I know that something is wrong with him. He's a nervous man. He smokes a lot. He got into this habit at school. I believe that many people only smoke because they want to look important. My wife thinks that Dr. Frankel understands more in medical matters than I do. I realize that he doesn't understand medical matters at all. Like many other doctors and professors, he thinks that I'm ridiculous. But my nerves are strong. His nerves are weak. He must treat people without charge because he's rich. He says that he loves Germany, but he does not give money to poor Germans. He thinks that I build everything on feeling and therefore thinks that I have no mind. The doctor is leaving, and I do not want to see him off. I want him to feel that his medical opinion is not needed. He came to say goodbye, and I shook his hand. He asked me not to write too much. I told him not to worry about me. He asked me whether I'd like to see a specialist in Zurich. I replied that I did not know, but if my wife so wishes, I would see him. The nerves in my head hurt me. I feel my blood has rushed from my head. I feel death near me. I am no longer a man. I am a man in God. I obey him. But sometimes I'm afraid to go out into the streets or into hotels, for I think that God would not want it. I stopped on a mountain which was not Sinai. I looked at a star which did not say good evening to me. I started to cry, but no one heard my weeping. No one came to my rescue. I turned and saw a house. It was closed and the window shuttered. I walked towards the house where a lamp was burning. I was not frightened of entering, but thought I should not enter. When people get tired, they need help, and I needed help. I started to go down a dark road, but was stopped by a tree which saved me. I thanked the tree. It felt me. It received my warmth, and I received the warmth of the tree. Suddenly, I felt a tremendous force in me and ran. Looking at the sky, I saw the stars which were twinkling at me. Death. 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 I walked on and suddenly stopped. I understood that God had stopped me. I felt tears. I realized that Christ had also walked. I walked with God. I began to sob so that I had spasm in my throat. Mankind makes merry and God mourns. The whole life of my wife and I and the whole of mankind is death. Everyone has forgotten what God is. I tell the truth, the whole truth. I am a dove. People look at icons and see the dove, but they do not understand the church and go there from habit, being afraid of God. God is not in icons, but in the soul of man. Christ said that he was spirit in the flesh, but his teachings were distorted. I shall say that the suffering of one man is unnecessary for human happiness, because I know that Christ has suffered and no one understood him. They killed him. He was murdered by the people. Now men want to pray, but they're stuffed with wine and told that this is Christ's blood. Christ's blood doesn't make men drunk, but sober. God wants me to suffer and understand the meaning of death. I understand everything. I am a moon. mujik, a workman, a factory worker, a servant, a master, an aristocrat, the Tsar. God. I am God. I am all life, infinity. I will be always and everywhere. Horror. 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 I am writing in small handwriting now because paper is expensive. This is the trick of the shops. They charge a lot for everything they sell, saying that the war is to be blamed. Many shopkeepers deceive people. I love mankind and do not deceive people. I shall invent a better fountain pen. This one tires my hand because I have to press. I shall invent one without pressure. This pen is dying. It scratches the paper and takes bits of paper with it. I've told my wife that I've invented a pen that will bring me a lot of money, but she doesn't believe it because she thinks that I do not understand what I am doing. I want to sell the patent of this pen for $5 million. The pen will be called God. I went out for a walk, and it seemed to me that there was blood on the snow. And so I ran, following the trail. I had the impression that somebody had killed a man, but he was alive. And so I ran in another direction and saw a large trail of blood. Went in the direction of the abyss. I realized the trail was not blood, but piss. I was afraid that people had buried a man in the snow because they had beaten him to death with sticks. I felt that it was God who was checking to see whether I was afraid of him or not. Then God forced me to go in the direction of the abyss, saying that a man was hanging there and had to be saved. I thought that the devil was tempting me, just as he tempted Christ when he was on the mountain, saying, "Jump down and I will believe in you." After standing for a while, I felt a force that was drawing me in the direction of the abyss. I went to the abyss, and then fell down, but was caught in the branches of a tree which I had not noticed. That amazed me, and I thought it was a miracle. God wanted to test me. I held on for a long time, but after a while I became afraid. God told me that I would fall if I let go of this branch. I let go of the branch, but did not fall. God said to me, "Go home and tell your wife that you are insane." God wishes happiness for my wife and mankind. I do not wish this sort of happiness for myself. I write until God stops me. My heirs will continue what I've started. I want galleries and theatres to be free of charge. I shall buy a theatre and shall act without charge. I shall give my money to love, to the feeling of God in man. I love beauty because I feel it and therefore I understand it. I am the artist who loves all shapes and all kinds of beauty. Beauty is not a relative thing. Beauty is God. God is beauty with feeling. I know it is difficult to feel when one is alone, but only alone can one understand feeling. Beauty is in feeling. Thinking people write nonsense about beauty. Beauty cannot be discussed. Beauty cannot be criticized. I love beauty because I feel it. Death came unexpectedly. For I wanted it to come. I told myself I did not wish to live. I was told I was mad. I thought I was alive, but wasn't given any peace. I weep from grief. I feel very sad, because everything around me is empty. I've taken down all the pictures and drawings of which I've been working for the last 6 months. My paints have dried up, for I do not do any more painting as I feel death. Now I will dance you the war for which you're responsible. Everything today was terrible. I'm afraid of people. They neither feel nor understand. I danced badly. I fell when I should not have. I acted nervously, because the audience understands me better when I'm nervous and vibrating. The audience came to be amused and thought I danced for their amusement. My dances were frightening. They were afraid of me, thinking that I wanted to kill them. I didn't want to kill anyone. I loved everyone, but no one loved me. I felt the presence of God the whole evening. He loved me. I loved him. I've told my wife that today was the day of my marriage to God. I have given her a great problem to solve. She cannot understand the meaning of death. She's not asleep. Her eyes are open. I stroke her gently. She feels things well. Today she loves with feeling. We must marry in spirit, because I want spiritual love. My muscles are tired, but I'm not tired. I know that tomorrow I must go to Zurich and see this specialist. I'll go to bed early so he can see me in good condition. I will talk to him about nerves, because this subject interests me. My wife told me to tell Kira that I would not come back anymore. Her eyes were full of tears. She said she would not leave me. God does not wish us to separate, but I will remain in Zurich if my wife is frightened of me. She wept in her heart. I felt a pain in my soul. She started crying and kissed me, saying that whatever happened to me, she and Kira would never leave me. I want to cry, but I cannot, because my soul aches too much. My soul is sick. My sickness is that of the soul, not of the mind. My little girl is singing. I do not understand its meaning, but I feel what she wants to say. She wants to say that everything is not horror, but also joy.